Let's delve a little deeper into this concept of gaining introductions, specifically from current clients. Jeff, when you think about gaining an introduction from an existing client, what comes first in the process?
I think it begins with what you just said, an introduction. Many people think about referrals. I'd love to get a referral. Well, an introduction and a referral are very different things.
Okay.
And as we think about asking for introductions, it's a much closer, warmer, more strong way to actually have that opportunity to meet somebody else. But one of the things that as we think about asking for introductions is really contemplating, when should I ask? When is the right time? When is the wrong time? And then thinking of, how do I actually do it? So as we think about when should we ask, it's really focused around when we're driving client delight, when we know our clients are really focused on and recognizing the fact that we're making a difference in their lives. I think that many of us often realize that sometimes the relationship to some extent ebbs and flows with things that ebb and flow with the client. And what I mean by that is sometimes the client is really dealing with more complicated or less than positive situations of which we're there with them to help them think through it. But they're also focused on things that are more joyous and more enjoyable. And I think those are the times that it's probably better to ask for an introduction.
So let's think through that process just a moment. I've read the statistics, you have too, that a startling low percentage of advisors ever engage existing clients in this concept of asking for introductions. Why do we not ask?
Great question. And I ask a lot of advisors. And one of the things that really amazes me is one of the most common answers is, I forget. And I say, well, you don't need to worry about that anymore because you always need to use a written agenda. And on your agenda, which doesn't have to be just like the client's, you could write at the bottom, ask for an introduction. But to the point of the statistics of so many people don't, but at the same time, we also know statistically those people that are really successful gain the lion's share of their new opportunities through introductions. So by helping them feel comfortable with and really understand the right time and the right words to say, it really gives them the path to do that.
All right, so you've talked a little bit about the timing. Let's get to the words. I've got to be comfortable in how I position it because I never want to do anything that potentially puts a relationship at risk. How do you proceed through this part of the process?
I think it's recognizing what we're actually asking for an introduction to. We're not looking for someone who needs a product. We're not looking for someone who needs a particular solution. What we're really looking for someone is who would appreciate the same level of service that we're providing for that client. It's about finding someone that appreciates advice, finding someone that appreciates a partnership approach. Mm-hmm. And if we'll think about it from that point of view, it's not trying to find them at a particular time in life. It's just who would appreciate that same level of service.
Okay. So, again, back to a little bit of metrics and a little bit of statistics. I've always been amazed at the number of existing clients who say they would certainly be willing to make an introduction if their advisor asked them to do so. And I think one of the challenges that often impedes that part of the process is clients don't know or they don't think about the fact that we would appreciate that. So there's a good symbiotic opportunity there.
Let me interrupt you. I think something that's really important is if you let the client know that you expect them, assuming they're delighted with the level of service you provide, to introduce them to others who would appreciate that level of service. I think it's a great level set early in the relationship to let them know that you'll likely be asking them for others that they believe would appreciate that. So Phil, other than just simply thinking in terms of who might appreciate the same level of service, what are some other ways that you believe would really help advisors be more successful as they try to find others that would benefit from their level of service?
All right. Let me ask you this, though, Jeff. Could I ask your advice on something?
Sure.
And that's the number one response you often get when you do ask an individual if you can solicit their advice. You, without thinking, you said, sure. Why? Because asking somebody for their advice is a sign that you place value in their thought process. Mm-hmm. You're actually positioning them to be the teacher and you the pupil. I find that the process of asking clients for their advice, for that counsel, opens up that opportunity where they get on the same side of the table as you. We always talk about being on the same side of the table with the client when we think about asset management and wealth management. But this is positioning them to be not just an advocate for your business, but almost an advisor to help you think through how you can shape and grow opportunities with clients. So asking for advice rather than just asking for a referral or even asking for an introduction, I found to be just a wonderful technique.
So the way you can use this to help you in your practice find opportunities for introductions is script out the way that you would ask someone for an introduction. Script out the way that you would ask them to introduce you to others that would appreciate your level of service. Script out how you would ask a client for their advice on others that may be able to leverage that same level of service as well. Once you script it, record a video. Post it and see how others can help you continue to fine-tune and refine that to a way that ultimately allows you to grow your practice through introductions.